Tucker Carlson revealed something about the IDF recently on his podcast, and he also had this discussion with Professor Jeffrey Sachs, who's also been on this show as well. People are asking more questions about Israel and the ability that Israel has to make decisions in the U.S. government. And recently, apparently, it has been leaked that the IDF has been speaking to the Pentagon. Why is the IDF speaking to the Pentagon? Is it possible that the IDF is telling the Pentagon what to do? Let's get into it. Tucker Carlson exposing the IDF actions in the U.S.
During the 12-day war, such as it was with Iran, the U.S. and Israel versus Iran, bombing on all sides. During that short conflict, IDF officers in the Pentagon, foreign military officers in the Pentagon, and by the way, they're not the only foreign military officers in the Pentagon, to be clear. There are NATO officers, they're from other countries, British, but there are a bunch of Israeli Defense Force officers in the Pentagon that week. And during that week, ask anyone who works at the Pentagon, they enraged American Pentagon staff by just barging into meetings, giving orders, making demands, and nobody did anything about it. How can a foreign military officer barge into military headquarters, even if invited, but barge into a meeting and start demanding, we want this, we want that, you need to get on this?
How? Exactly. Now, I tried to tell people this a while back about how the NYPD got their training from the IDF, the same tactics that you see the IDF using against people in Gaza and the West Bank. The NYPD uses some of those same tactics against people right here at home in the US. They're trained by the IDF. Now we have the IDF barging into Pentagon meetings. What? Meanwhile, they have you focused on everything else. They got you focused on hating your neighbor. They have you focused on the culture war stuff. They have you focused on what is a woman, who can use what bathroom, who can do all this stuff. You literally have soldiers from Israel interrupting Pentagon meetings. What the fuck? And everyone should be up in arms about this. Imagine if no other country would be able to do this. Like Russia couldn't just barge in and say, hey, China couldn't just barge in and say, listen up. The IDF can just walk right into the Pentagon and start wagging their finger and telling them what they better do? Why aren't these Pentagon officials speaking up? Who are they really working for? Is it really about them protecting America? Because I don't think it is. What is happening here? And I'm willing to bet this has happened before, but we're just now hearing about it. This probably has been going on for years as far as we know. We don't know. This could have been happening for years. Did they barge into the Pentagon after September 11? Just asking. Let's continue.
Huh? The more you allow that kind of deeply unhealthy behavior, the more you're going to get. And that's exactly what has happened. Because of the weakness of our leaders, we have incited predators in a foreign country to take advantage of us. Oh, that's such an anti-Israel thing to say. It's not anti-Israel at all. It's a demand that the people whose job it is, whose sacred duty it is to defend and represent us, our leaders, both at the Pentagon and all throughout the U.S. government, that they do that they stand up and defend us against all potential threats against all foreign countries to the extent they need to, and that they do not prostrate themselves before a foreign nation. That's just basic. Why have a government, especially a strong government, if it's taking orders from another weaker government? And that is the state of play. And it has been for a very long time. And they're not even pretending.
No, they're not pretending. It's all out in the open now. And so to Tucker Carlson's point, when he says, why even have a government if this is what is going to happen, to give people the illusion of democracy. Because if we had real democracy, people wouldn't try to, I don't know, give super delegate votes to a candidate that didn't get votes in that state. If we had true democracy, we wouldn't even have an electoral college. People starting to get it. If we had true democracy, we wouldn't have representatives represent us. We would vote on what policies we want, just like we do with the ballot measures in the ballot initiative states. What we have are representatives that don't represent us. They're basically there to represent corporations, lobby interest groups, the military industrial complex. That's really who they work for, not us. They're there to give us the illusion that they're going to do something for us and represent us, but they don't. They're basically just bought off by big money, and that's their role. We have presidents that are also owned and bought off by Israel and Big Pharma. All of these people in DC are working for big money interests and not ours. And now you're hearing about the Pentagon. Now, Jeffrey Sachs was also on Tucker Carlson's show as well. So listen to this. Abir said the dam is cracking. Tucker is asking the forbidden question. Tucker asked the biggest question about Israel that Washington won't touch.
May I ask you, you said a moment ago that no American president has ever constrained Israel in a meaningful way. I think George
in the modern period.
Yeah, George H.W. Bush kind of tried, and there was talk of an assassination attempt against him, and he lost, of course, after one term. But why do you think that is? Why is a country of 9 million people able to dictate terms to a country of 350 million people?
Well, first of all, there's no legitimate reason for that. In other words, there's no intrinsic U.S. interest in any way, whether it's military or security or economic, for this to be the case. There's no moral reason for this to be the case. In other words, one could support Israel without supporting Israel's reckless extremism and militarism and all its wars. And so there's no reason for the United States government to have given a blank check, actually handed our military and our intelligence over to Israel to tell us what to do.
Unless, as I've pointed out before, the whole idea is that Israel is just a military base in the Middle East. That Israel is an extension of the United States as a military base in the Middle East under this facade of being a safe place for Jewish people. Israel's a secular state. It's not there's Christians, there's people that practice Judaism as well. Like there's different things. Now they have all those things there, and it's a secular state, but under that system they also have apartheid, where a Palestinian Christian may have a different passport than someone who is Jewish. I really do believe this. I really do believe that's all Israel is, just a military base disguised as something else.
There's no legitimate reason for this. The question, why this is the case is, of course, I think to all of us, even no matter how much on the inside we are or how many decades we've watched this, a bit of a mystery.
Yes.
And because I've seen this close up for more than 50 years. And if you ask me, am I really sure why Netanyahu, who is a absolutely disgusting warmonger, who has dragged us into terrible wars, who is committing massive war crimes, why he gets 57 standing ovations in the US Congress. If you ask me in my heart, do I really understand that? Is it the AIPAC lobby, the Israel lobby? Well, partly. Is it blackmail by Israel? Because there's no doubt a lot of credible claims of Epstein and more about blackmail. Is it that? Is it direct bribes? Is it fear of American politicians? Is it the mainstream media, which for a lot of reasons owned by a lot of billionaires that tend to be rather ardent Zionists? Is it the large Christian Zionist vote base, which is also a real thing? To tell you the truth, none of it really adds up.
I agree.
In full, because this is not in America's interest. It's not in America's interest to be isolated in the world together with a murderous rogue state, which
It is in America interest if the US government wants to support colonialism. Israel is the last stage of colonialism. This is it. If they want to support it in an effort to drive the Arab people out for economic reasons for the United States to have access to the resources that are also there and not have to worry about Iran. I'm just looking at it from the US government perspective. This is how they'll think. Like, this would be the way to get Iran out of the picture and support the greater Israel project. They don't want them there. Now, Benjamin Netanyahu, I mean, yeah, he's the prime minister, but you put someone else in that position, they'll be doing the same thing because they all support the colonial project. They all support it. What do you think would have happened if, I think about this sometimes. What do you think would have happened if Israel wasn't created? Let's say Israel wasn't created in the Middle East. They would have created it somewhere else. This colonial project. Now, then they do it under the guise of, but they got to be in the Middle East because, that's the Holy Land. The religion excuse, that's just a disguise. They're using religion to explain why they need to be there, but it's a secular state. I think if everybody just look at things for what they really are and look at what has happened in the world. We have watched the US and Britain, other Western countries destroy other countries in the world, whether it's Afghanistan, whether it's Haiti. There was colonialism in the Bahamas, Jamaica, Barbados, all the Caribbean. There was colonialism there. There's colonialism in the Dominican Republic. It's been all over the world. The religion piece is an excuse. But this is still an effort of supporting colonial expansion, which is a European idea. It's a European construct. So if someone were to ask me, does the United States government support colonial expansion? I would say yes. And I would point to Israel. Let's continue on here.
Which is sad to say what the Israeli government has become. It is the most lawless state in the whole world right now. It's committing massive war crimes. It is, as Netanyahu said, at war in 7 fronts. If you're at war in 7 fronts, that's pretty weird. That shows you don't have diplomacy. You have war as a policy. And of course, Netanyahu does have war as a policy.
And see, it's not just Benjamin Netanyahu. That's also the thing. Not just Benjamin Netanyahu. It's the whole part of Zionism in the beginning, the whole part of Zionism was to basically make sure that you would continue this colonial expansion. And this is why, like, you have people that live in Israel that are from Brooklyn, New Jersey, California. And you have people moving there from Poland, Ukraine, Russia, and then changing their name to make it seem like they're indigenous. They're not indigenous. Yes, there were Jewish people that were living there alongside with the Palestinian people before the Zionist expansion came in. But a lot of the Israelis, the people who are there now, were settlers. Same thing for the West Bank. So that's what this is really about. And people try to look at this in other different ways. And a lot of people will say, oh, it's about religion. It is not about religion. That is the excuse. Because if it was about religion, then they wouldn't have sterilized the Ethiopian Jewish women against their will. They sterilized them because they did not want them to reproduce, and then lied to them and told them they were giving them something that they weren't giving them. So they did it against their will. The sooner people wake up and see that this is not about religion, the better off everybody will be. Got to pay attention to what's happening in the world, folks. Hey guys, this was a Sabby clip. If you like what you saw, hit that like button and subscribe.